Hello, it's Richard Watson, and this is Long Lay the Easy Way. Here's a question for you, especially people who are learning on their own. How do I actually practice speaking? It's all very well having endless access to videos, films, and texts, but how do I actually practice speaking? Well, that's a good question. I think the easiest way of saying it, and perhaps the one you want to hear, is that it's not at all impossible to find speaking partners, even in a country like France, which is not famous for the desire to speak English. There are websites like Tandem, where you sign up and you agree to have conversations half in your language, half in English or another language, with people around the world. I've got a lot of students who do that. One particular guy had 4 different people he would do that with. One Irish guy, one Scottish guy, 2 Americans, I think it was. He enjoyed it. It was a great kind of international experience for him, just talking to people in different countries almost every day of the week. So that's certainly possible. As always, for any women out there, be careful who you sign up to. But I think Tandem, it's a site called Tandem's pretty serious about this kind of stuff. And there are certainly other ones if you search for that. If I want to do it and think about this in a more pedagogical way, the reality is you don't actually need to speak to someone when you speak. I know that's a crazy idea, but you can speak alone. And for those of you who look at me and think I'm exaggerating, I'll ask you this question. I'm trying to learn to play the guitar. Do you think I can only practice on stage? Or can I practice in the privacy of my bedroom? Yeah, that's a great place to practice. Practice in private, of course. Once you can do it, go out into the real world and use it. But there's nothing stopping you from speaking alone. Especially in these day and ages. When I first came to France, it was pre-mobile phone days. And I would walk around the streets of Paris talking to myself and making horrible sentences, describing buildings and describing what I could see. People probably thought I was crazy. You're lucky. You have a mobile phone. Guess what? Put your earphones in. Everyone will think you're on the phone. Very easy to disguise it. So yeah, do build your own sentences and test them. And if you're not sure if it's good, again, you're lucky you live in the age of ChatGPT and AI. You can dictate your sentences on your phone by speaking. And if you want, you can put them into ChatGPT and it will tell you if they're good or not good. And if you need to correct them, it'll correct them. There are all sorts of wonderful tools for this nowadays. The other way you can actually practice speaking, even less popular for most people, is actually to repeat things. It's actually to listen to a sentence, stop, and repeat it. I know it sounds easy. It's remarkably difficult, especially in English where the pronunciation is so important. Which syllables are strong in each word? Think about it. It changes a lot. Think of a simple word like present, which means to be here or to give someone a gift. But if I pronounce it as present, then it's a verb, like I'd like to present my wife. When you're listening and repeating, you can actually catch those kind of things. It gives you the time and the space to actually spend some time doing things as well as you can. And that's how you build up the kind of skills that you need to take you into real conversation. You can do all of that on your own. I often think of it as the same as testing or tasting a good glass of wine. You can just knock it back and finish it quickly if you want, but you can also take a sip and really try to appreciate it. And if you're really feeling kind of pretentious, you can talk about chocolate and vanilla and raspberry and things like that. But you can really enjoy that, each mouthful of that glass of wine, in a very deliberate and kind of rich way. It's the same when you repeat a sentence. Take a simple sentence and just repeat it and make it yours. Make the structures yours. If that's getting easy for you, well, how about this? Listen to a sentence, repeat it, and then make another sentence with the same structure. Adapt that sentence to things that you want to say and get used to adapting that model to your own uses. That will be very useful to you when you're really in conversation. I had a student once who said, my only real objective is to speak like Steve Jobs. Great objective if you like speak Steve Jobs. It's actually pretty easy to do that. We've got videos, we've got transcripts, we've got audio of him. You can listen and copy and repeat and borrow his words and borrow his expressions and speak with his accent. You can do that today. There's nothing stopping you except your own patience and a desire to really fix an objective that you want to stick to. So that's a very simple way of actually starting speaking. And again, with the world of internet, there's more and more chances of actually speaking with people. In big cities like Paris, you actually have magazines, English, French magazines, where people are offering, who are looking for a chance to speak English and French, mixed conversations. Sometimes they're organized in cafes, sometimes it's one-on-one. Fusac springs to mind. Look around you, look on internet. And guess what? That's the same skill you would use for any other question or problem in your life. If you're not sure if it's possible, go and look on Google. Google is your friend. If you want to find speaking opportunities or apps, go and have a look. There's nothing stopping you. Again, people don't have to turn off their professionalism just because they come to English class or just because they feel they're in a system that they don't master. I once had a student who, when he came to class, he said, I had a question from last week about a word of vocabulary. And I said, you've been waiting a week to ask me what a word means? I have a question for you. If in your job you got an email and there was an attachment that you couldn't open, what would you do? I'd go on Google, I'd put the suffix in, and I'd find out what kind of app I need to open that document. Yeah, you can do all of that, and you can't look up one word in English in a week. You're waiting for your teacher to tell you? Come on, bring your competence into class. Bring your professional competences into class. Now, you guys at home aren't in a class, but you've still got those professional competences. Don't feel shy about using them. Anyway, that's enough for today. As always, don't forget to subscribe, and you can find the transcript if you need it.